Since you should be quite comfortable right now doing a straight air, let's move on to spins. We'll start with a simple one, the so-called 360. Keep your feet a shoulder's width apart, your weight centered, and your posture slightly forward. Hit the kicker with the ideal speed to achieve the smooth transition. The first difference compared to a straight air will appear during the takeoff. First, we need to provide an impulse for your takeoff. It should start within your ankles and then continue through your knees and hip joints. Since our goal is to spin on axis, we need to initiate the rotation accordingly. In order to do so, you will need to turn your head in the direction you would like to spin. Shoulders, hips, and the rest of the body will follow the head's lead. A compact posture will add safety and stability to your airtime. Keep your head turned in the spin direction all the way until you see the landing. Opening up your posture will stop the rotation and allow you to safely stick the landing. Another way to improve the style of a 360 is to add in a mute grab. Thinking back on the straight air, the grab is exactly the same. You will need to reach your hand out to the opposing ski, extend the other arm, and bend your hip just a little bit. The 540 should be your next step. It's basically a combination of both tricks mentioned before. The main difference to a 360 that you have to keep in mind is that you're going to need a stronger wind-up for the additional 180 degrees of rotation, especially when hitting a rather small kicker. People tend to wind up before the takeoff in order to generate that additional momentum needed to complete the rotation. Once again, your head will lead the spin during the airtime. Shoulders, hips, and legs will follow its motion. As soon as the landing appears back in sight after your first rotation, you need to keep it there by only letting the rest of your body complete the 540 spin. The landing takes place with the line of sight pointing over your shoulder. When a 540 doesn't appear to be a problem for you anymore, you should start thinking about switch tricks. The name already gives a hint. With those tricks, you'll find yourself riding backwards before the takeoff and sometimes even after landing. At first, that's a fact that might be messing with your mind, but soon you'll get used to it. Once you got your speed right, you approach the kicker with a hip width stance, only this time you'll need to do it in a switch position. Take note, you already need to look over your shoulder that points in the direction that you would like to spin. So if you spin to the left, you need to be looking over your left shoulder. The rest of the body will follow the head in a smooth and steady motion. The landing itself shouldn't be a problem anymore. Everything applies the way you learned it during the straight air and the 360. You look over the shoulder pointing in the direction that you would like to spin. In order to generate the additional momentum needed for that 360 degrees of rotation, you will need to strike out your arms to the right just before the takeoff. Now is the time to energetically pop off the kicker. At this point, the right timing is key. People often tend to initiate the rotation too soon, which literally ends up in you getting caught on the edge of the kicker. Start the rotation by vigorously swinging your arms and turning your head to the left. Tucking in your legs right after takeoff will help you maintain control. Keep focus on the landing throughout the entire airtime while the rest of your body is performing the rotation. Similar to approaching a kick or switch, the main challenge with doing switch onto an obstacle takes place in your head. Similar to the switch 180, you'll need to look over the shoulder that points in the direction that you want your spin to go. After that, an energetically performed takeoff, as well as building up a certain amount of body tension, will allow you to maintain control of your trick. At the same time, the 90-degree rotation needs to be initiated by the upper body, while the rest of the body and the skis follow that lead. The special thing about it, after entering an obstacle the usual way, you're going to spin off it in the opposite direction. In order for you to be in the right position for the 270 off, you need to put some pressure on the heel of your downhill ski. You also need to apply some pressure to the toes on your other ski in order to generate the momentum needed to rotate to 270 degrees. All that happens right before the end of the obstacle. But take note, your upper body will lead the motion while you keep sight of the landing. During the blindside 270 off, there won't be a change in the direction that you're going to spin. The hard thing about it is more the fact that at one point you won't be able to see the end of the obstacle, nor the landing anymore. After safely entering the obstacle by doing a 90-degree spin, direct your sight to the end of the box. About halfway through your slide, you'll need to start rotating by turning your upper body, hips, and head. While doing so, your sight will bypass the takeoff. Immediately after that, you'll be able to see the landing again. This time, in order to support your rotation, you'll need to put your weight on the toes of your downhill ski, as well as on the heel of your other ski.
Okay guys, that's it for today.
Yeah!
Yeah! Yes.
Just by reaching down to the grab with that one. That way, the Switch 5 Japan. That way, the Switch 5 Japan. By reaching back, it's happening again.